Bolu, with ambassadors in heavyweights like Nigeria and Rwanda being told to pack their bags by January, who is actually running the show now? Are we looking at, months of empty desks while China and Russia move in to fill the silence?
All right, thank you very much for having me, and compliment of the season to you. Yes, it's the charged affairs are the ones that handle the day-to-day operations, in this consulate or embassies, but they don't really have that political influence, don't really have that strong political power. There's only so much they can do when it comes to influencing the politics of the country they are in, or actually making a move that they would like to, as individuals or as experts in the country of assignment. They receive instruction from the United States, from the equivalent of the Foreign Affairs Ministry in the United States, or from the President or the Secretary of State. So they don't really have that political influence. So it creates a vacuum, and it gives opportunity for countries like Russia and China to fill in these diplomatic spaces. We need to understand that the United States created their global influence and power and prestige based on what is called soft power, which involves having their, consulates in countries, providing aid, sponsoring people abroad, providing scholarships and things like that. That's how they build influence and soft power, because who pays the piper is the one that dictates the tune. Diplomacy is all about presence. So when the absence is there, it sends a strong message as well. It's like leaving your shop closed for months, and you now expect your customers not to go to other sellers. That's what's going to happen. The United States has closed its shop in different countries. So countries will look towards Russia, they look towards China, they'll find alternatives, which would make the US even more angry. So I'm really watching keenly how it's going to pan out, but this could can actually plunge the United States further into decline in terms of global influence.
All right, now let's hear from Dr. Sorry, let's pass that question on Christian genocide to Bolu. Bolu, let's talk about this.
Okay.
The CPC status and also Nigeria. We know that the U.S. has labeled Nigeria as a country of particular concern regarding religious freedom.
Yes.
Some think it is about human rights, and others do think that it is a convenient legal hook to justify the new travel restrictions. What do you think?
Well, I think it's both, and I think it's quite strategic when you look at the timing. The CPC status, the country of particular concern status, it kind of provides a legal basis for everything that Trump is doing, especially targeted towards Nigeria. It justifies sanctions, it justifies the travel limits, or whatever he may want to come up with in future. It's quite unfortunate that they come up with these names as in a cover for a lot of policies that may not be friendly to certain nations, and it kind of promotes a certain agenda that the administration in the U.S. wants to propagate. Even though the human rights concerns are real, but when we look at the application of these policies in terms of enforcement, they look quite selective. They appear to be quite selective in application, which is not fair. That's not what human right is about. Human right covers every human being. So what applies to the goods must apply to Uganda as well. It's like when you suddenly enforce an old rule, when you need a reason to penalize someone, it feels a little bit quite retaliatory. Imagine you're in the office and then they come up with a particular rule just to victimize a particular staff or a group of or a particular department. And the funny thing is that the people that make this kind of rules, whether in a nation or in a place of work or whatever, they usually get caught by these rules themselves because they forget along the way, that they made such rules, and I feel in the long run, it might come back to bite the United States in some way. And, we've seen the U.S. president, take a back step on some of his words or policies in the past when he saw that it didn't turn out well. And I think this is one of the things that this is going to fall into that list as well.
All right. Still on now, Bolu, this is quite an interesting one. Looking at the 2026 World Cup, which is being hosted in the US. We have countries that qualified, like Senegal, that are now on the restricted list. So how can the U.S. host a global stage while actively barring the players and fans of the teams invited?
Yeah, it's a really funny contradiction because it's like hosting a party but blocking the invited guests at the gate. Luckily, it's not only United States hosting. There's also Canada and Mexico, hosting the World Cup as well. And it simply means that those are the countries that make more sales in terms of tickets, enjoy the benefits of tourism, and have the benefits of additional employment. Can be hosting a global event like this and not be open, and having selective access is a huge contradiction. We should expect some level of diplomacy and sporting backlash from the football fans and also even FIFA and all that. But the United States can still kind of manage this by copying the Morocco model. Morocco is hosting the AFCON 2025 right now, but they have a special visa category, that allows people to come in freely on that particular sporting visa, which expires, I think, a day or 3 or 2 days after the event. They could borrow that label as well. It's not about blocking people. It's not about blocking people from coming in. It should be more about strengthening their own security apparatus, ensuring that they have the capacity to manage the crowd, the capacity to trace people, and to be able to pin down crime. That's what should matter. People can come in as much as they want, but have a system that actually works. So it's a sort of an excuse it could be an excuse for the weak system of United States in some of these countries, or the fear that, they won't be able to track people that run away and all that. But hosting a party, hosting an event, and blocking the guests at the gate is really funny, and it's a glaring contradiction.
Okay, so let's start taking your point. All right, let's finally hear from you, Bolu.
All right, so I don't really align with Africa looking elsewhere. I align with Africa looking inward, because whatever America or Europe or whatever they are today, perennially could be. This was built by Africans taking away there to build this country. If they could build the country, they could develop the infrastructure of these countries and actually create a kind of society there. We can do the same inward. Africans are hardworking people. We're unique people, so we should begin to look inward and not borrow context from abroad and try to domesticate them and all that. We should actually do things within our context. We also must learn the art of playing international politics. Africa on the global stage has been perennially weak when it comes to foreign policy and actually engaging with these world powers, still clamoring for a seat, in the UN Security Council and things like that. We must learn the art of negotiation, striking deals. And we can see that it's possible when we look at the structure of the AES states. They're actually growing, they're actually, making progress and improving all around. So there's a point that a child has to grow and win himself from the breast. And I think Africa is now becoming a big baby. We have all the resources, we have the raw materials, we have the manpower. Let us begin to put them into use right now and beginning to understand how international politics works, begin to use our soft power and actually, put ourselves in the center of world politics. And when we can do that, I believe strongly that Africa will gain its place in the world. Thank you.
All right, well, this is where we wrap up this conversation. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. Alex Vines, Program Director, Africa-European Council on Foreign Relations. We also had Dr. Solomon Tayo Kajare, Senior Consultant, Institute of Security and Modern War Studies, University of Fortune, Ondo State, and also Bolu Michael-Biyi, Foreign Policy Analyst in Lagos, and Dr. Abubakar Ba, Presidential Research Professor of Sociology, Northern Illinois University in the U.S. Thank you so much once again, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.